as you can possibly tell from Thea's sharing of her experience, it's a very emotional thing for us. It's something that actually has impacted our lives a lot, in very negative ways, particularly over the last 5-6 years as my health has deteriorated. Because at the end of the day, there's not just one of us who's ill. We are both chronically ill. We're both disabled. We also have a son who has autism and ADHD, so we all have
needs and requirements.
Yes,
beyond the normal,
beyond what is
expected,
typical.
Yeah.
So we are working really hard, and we worked so hard to stay in work. So like Thea, when I met Thea, she was a plumber, then she retrained in healthcare, then she went into office work and admin. And same with me, I've never been in a role more than 18 months, I don't think. I might have gone up to about 20 months for one of them. And a lot of that is because the work has got to a point where, I've experienced workplace discrimination. I've experienced burnout in jobs. So I've had to then change to be able to stay in work. And when I became too ill to actually stay in employment, I went freelance because I was determined to stay out of the system, because we knew, first of all, there's this stigma around being in the system. Nobody wants to be reliant on the state, but also it is really hard. People say, you're doing it, it must be so lovely to be at home all day and to get given money by the government. It is so unbelievably hard to get support, and the amount of support we get is not actually enough for us to live on. We've had to rely on family to bail us out in the past, and we got put into social housing when we were both first out of work, but we've been living in poverty, and the only reason we're doing as well as we are now is because I inherited some money. And so that is a buffer for us, but we're still using more money than we have coming in, because being disabled costs money. There are additional costs that people don't think about. So, you have to drive everywhere. So there's the cost of running a car and getting more petrol. And you sometimes have to order food to be delivered. And so you're shopping somewhere that's more expensive than you would possibly normally go. You've got certain dietary requirements, because you can't eat the cheapest food because it upsets your system. You can't batch cook because you just don't have the energy to do batch cooking and do things in bulk. You can't always prepare food. So like Thea is terrible at chopping, because not only does it hurt, but she's also likely to cut her hands, because you have problems with the spatial awareness and where your hands are in place, and you can't always tell where things are. So you're buying pre-prepared things which are more expensive, and there's all these different costs that come with it that mean that it is more expensive to be disabled, and yet you have the lowest income.
Yeah.